I've got three incredible vintage watches here. One Rolex with a Tiffany dial that's just insane. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Squarespace, and today we're going to be trying something new, a different sort of content. It's an in the metal category series, yes, but we're going to integrate a little bit more style into this. I'm going to be pairing these three watches while I'm telling you all about their history and why they're significant and why I chose to buy them, and of course, offer them for sale on the Theo and Harris Watch Shop. But I'm also going to pair them with some clothing. That's something that people have commented a million times. I am by no means a clothing expert, but I am certainly a hoarder. I definitely have a perspective on clothing and personal style. Like I have a perspective on all possible consumer things because I'm terrible. I'm a terrible consumer. So you can learn from my mistakes and, come along for the journey while I show you what's interesting about these pieces and how they pair in my life and how they might also pair in yours. So let's start off. We'll do the Rolex second, okay? Because we've got three amazing pieces here. And the first is a super collectible piece, and the third is incredibly sentimental and important, and it's a bit of a lesson in strap pairing and how that fits into my life. So the first piece here is unbelievable. You've never seen something like this. I mean, maybe one of you has, but the odds that you've seen anything like this are slim and none. I actually can't believe I'm holding this, and I don't know why I'm selling it. In fact, I might not. I don't know. As the time I record this, I plan on listing this on the site, but I can't promise it's there right now. Go and take a look. This is a Piaget. Sure, and I'm a Piaget lover, I'm a Piaget collector. It's truly, one of my favorite brands. Piaget was, while today it's a fine manufacturer of watches, Piaget was in the 1960s and 70s and 80s really among the most important, significant watch manufacturers held in the highest esteem. I mean, Piaget was on par with Patek Philippe every day of the week. Their level of finishing, their usage of alternative materials, like specifically the different natural stones, like lapis and malachite and all, just a multitude of stones. It was unbelievable. But also just their style. Piaget is a designer, it's a divergent thinker with a dedication, an unwavering dedication to manufacturing, high quality watches and precious metals. Right? That's Piaget, right? That's Piaget. Piaget never had the Nautilus or the Royal Oak the way that Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet did. Piaget was decadent always and was never dragged down or saved by the steel sports watch, however you want to look at it. Now they have a Polo, and it's actually a rather good watch for the price, but it's different. It's a different world now, but then everything was pure in their DNA. So let's talk about this watch, because it's not just a Piaget. It's actually a Van Cleef & Arpels, because Piaget at the time was also doing partnerships, and they don't any longer, doing partnerships with some of the most esteemed luxury brands in the world. Bulgari is a really good example. I actually have a Piaget Bulgari in my collection, which is kind of why I've considered keeping this watch, because this would be my second Piaget double stamp with another jewelry manufacturer. And again, this one is Van Cleef & Arpels, very famous brand today, but back then, not, right? Van Cleef & Arpels was operational and luxury, sure, but Van Cleef & Arpels did not really blow up until the 2000s, when they were ultimately required by Richemont, I believe in around 2008. I could be wrong about that, but their Alhambra design now and their whole collection now is, huge, but at the time it wasn't. At the time it wasn't what it is today, but they were still uber luxury. They were still wealth, right? And it was the early days, it was the independent days, right before acquisition from a major conglomerate. So this is a phenomenal watch. Value on something like this, truly, I think is bound to do nothing but go up. It is an incredibly rare piece. I'm not selling it to you as an investment. I don't even know if I am selling it, but I am just saying, as a matter of fact, something that this rare and this interesting and this beautiful is exactly what you'd be, looking at. It's certainly part of that conversation. Again, I'm not saying that's the reason why not buy it, but it is something to, consider if I'm being intellectually, honest. How would I wear this watch? Well, a couple of ways. And really, the surprising one is the one I'd wear it more often. I'd wear this watch casually, all the time. I would wear this watch with a t-shirt and jeans far more often than I'd wear it with a suit, right? So when I'm wearing a suit, I like wearing something that's a little bit more understated, a little bit more casual, because wearing a suit already you're looked at in, I think, just culture as someone that's trying, right? Trying. Right? Most people are not really wearing, most people aren't really wearing suits, right? So when you put on a suit, it's already a little bit standoutish. So with my accoutrements and accessories, I try to conform a little bit and be quiet. I would wear this watch with black tie. I'd wear this with a tuxedo, yes. But I'm telling you, this watch for me is best casually. Again, a white t-shirt, or this is just a knit polo and a stupid, vintage baseball cap, right? I'm going to a Rangers game tonight, that's why I'm wearing my cap. So that's how I would wear it, right? That is a very new, modern, hip way of wearing vintage watches. Grandpa watches, they call them geezer watches now. And I think that makes sense. I know that may look a little bit funny and surprising, but I think this works this way. It's a manually wound watch, it's fabulous. Listen to this winding. Doesn't get much better. This watch is just out of this world. So next piece we'll talk about today. Rolex Datejust, reference 16013, which means it has a quick set date. I believe that makes it a 4th generation Datejust. This one, two-tone, silver dial, and what makes it so special, the Tiffany stamp. So what is a Tiffany stamp? Well, many years ago, I think up until the mid-2000s, Rolex would retail watches at Tiffany & Company. That is still done today by Patek Philippe, but back then it was by Rolex. I actually have cousins that own a Datejust just like this, and then also a Submariner. Both of those watches they purchased for like $2,500 all those years ago, and now they're worth, $20,000, $30,000, but the Submariner is probably worth well more than that at this point. Probably 40. It's crazy, right? But at the time, one of my cousin's wives was actually working at Tiffany. So when, it was time to buy a Rolex, which was a stretch, I'm sure, she got a discount. That's why they ended up with Tiffany watches. It wasn't because it was cool or because of anything else. It was just, that's where I got my discount. I got it at Tiffany. So this is, again, a reference 16013, makes a quick set date. It's a clean watch, Jubilee bracelet. These watches they're hard to come by. They're rare watches to begin with, but really most of them have just ended up in personal collections at this point too. And that makes them all more rare, right? They're tough. I mean, people that find them and buy them keep them, and the prices have gone up, and they've gone up steadily, but they haven't gone up to the point where people in the watch world feel like they're worthy of liquidating, because they're not enough money to a lot of people where it's like you want to get out of it. Whereas that's what you had with Patek Philippe, right? They went up so much that people were like, wait, I'm sitting on 130 grand for an Nautilus that I paid $27,000 for, or $15,000 or $18,000. Let me get out. The Datejusts have gone up, of course, but if you owned a Tiffany Datejust, even if it was, let's say 5 or 8 years ago, you were already paying a premium, right? These watches at the time were, $7,000 to $10,000. I basically remember. I think the lowest I've ever sold one was probably in the 8s, right? I don't know if I've ever owned one in the 7s, but that's what they were. And so that was already a 2 to 3x, multiple of the value of a regular Datejust. That's what you were paying. Today they've gone up, nearly doubled, but again, that extra, $5,000 to $10,000 in premium just hasn't made people or forced people or enough people to change the market to dump. So you just don't see these in the market really much at all. I've owned this one for a little while. I've considered keeping it. I love this watch, and I actually posted about it on my Instagram at Christian Zerone, if you want to go follow. And I said, hey, should I keep this watch? I love it. I wanted a Tiffany watch really badly. What do you think? And everyone yelled at me because they said, you already have a Datejust, you can't have another Datejust. Don't stop talking about owning more Datejusts. You have one, you have the best one, meaning because it's the most sentimental. This is actually categorically better than mine. And stop talking about it, move on. Right? So, I'm not keeping it, but this is a remarkable watch. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Squarespace. If it weren't for Squarespace, I definitely actually wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have been able to build what this company built over the last 10 years. Starting with Squarespace's templates that allow you to pick web designs or pick from a collection of web designs that are just not only beautiful, but functional. Bring a brand from zero to life. And with such a small commitment, Squarespace is so affordable. It's amazing. And over the last 10 years, it's amazing to see how far they've come. The tools that they have now that they're enabling and giving and offering to their users are incredible. Their AI tools with their design intelligence program, their fluid engine system that allows you to drag and drop different elements all over your site, their SEO tools, their flexible payment tools. I mean, their invoicing tools. I can't even believe how helpful Squarespace is. I don't just recommend you go take a look at Squarespace now if you're new to business and looking to start a site, but also if you have a website, and even if you're happy, take a look, poke around, just try it, because geez, I can almost guarantee you're going to be blown away by Squarespace. So go over to squarespace.com/Theo Harris to get 10% off your first website or domain. That's it. Thanks, Squarespace. How do I wear a Datejust like this? Well, you wear it like any other Datejust, right? Because a Tiffany stamp does not actually change, right, the pairing. I mean, it's still a, two-tone Datejust. I wear this feeling like, I wear this feeling like an elder statesman, right? I wear this, for me, it's very 80s. I believe the year of manufacture was 1979. So it's very 80s, very in today. This is decidedly more sporty than the Van Cleef Arpels, which is, more Elvis, right? It's very, very kind of classically elegant or gaudy or that kind of world. This is just a two-tone Datejust. They basically make this watch today, right? This watch stands out a lot less, makes a much smaller statement about you from 10 feet away. When you walk over, of course, it does become a piece that, people, if you know watches, say, holy crap, where'd you get that? That's incredible. The dial's immaculate. It's a Tiffany thing. Tell me more. But from a distance, it's just like everything else, right? So how would I wear this? Again, very casually, but now I would have no hesitation in wearing this with a suit. I'd wear this with a suit every day. I wouldn't, though, wear it with a tuxedo. And again, that's not to say that tuxedos are, very, common that we're wearing them, but just to give you a sense of kind of the levels of formality, I wouldn't personally wear it with one. But I could totally wear this watch today. In fact, I may wear this watch today to the Ranger game. By the way, go Rangers. So yes, this is a beautiful piece. I would also wear this piece, yes, with a t-shirt, of course. I'd probably opt for something a little bit bolder because the rest of my outfit would be so conservative and so kind of casual and laid back that I'd want something to stand out a little bit. That's just kind of how I am. But I'd be far more likely to wear this in the summertime, linen shirt, shorts, right, loafers. I wear I've been wearing the same pair of loafers all the time. I wear these summer walk loafers are really, really great. They're way overpriced. They're absolutely absurd. You can find alternatives in a million places. Suit Supply ones are great. I actually have a pair. But that's how I would wear this watch a lot. I would not wear the Van Cleef Arpels as much in the summer like that because I'd be sweating and the alligator band would eventually, pay the price for that sweat. So this I would definitely get a lot of summertime wear with, right? Last but not least, okay, my Omega Seamaster. This is actually an Omega Seamaster that my grandfather was given by his uncle Nick, back, I believe in the late 1950s, early 1960s, but the watch is from, I think, 1952 or 1953. My grandfather very rarely wore the watch. You guys may know my grandfather from many of the videos we've posted here. A Man and His Watch was the first one we ever did with him, I believe. And the second one was a sit down with he and I that Michael had edited a long, long time ago. And then the last one in the trilogy there was about a year later, where I sat down with my grandfather again, and this time brought to this conversation my Breguet, my Piaget Polo, and my Rolex GMT Master 2 in white gold. And I brought those three watches to get his opinions on them, and it made for like an amazing episode. Malcolm edited it, Malcolm shot it. It was awesome. You should definitely go take a look at that episode. I actually kind of talked about all of this, and a big suggestion that I have for all of you folks out there that care about watches and inheriting them and passing them down. I talked a lot about it over on The Zero, which is our private podcast community. If you're not a member, go sign up. If you're already a member or have been a member, go tune back in, take a look. The episode was really cool. It was like 20 minutes where I give I think a really strong suggestion to a lot of you. My grandfather did recently pass away, so for all of you that were fans of those videos, go back and watch them, and maybe they'll bring a smile to your face. And again, if you go over on The Zero, I mean, long story short, I think that we should be capturing more photos and film of our loved ones, right? Young and old, of course. So anyway, this is his Omega Seamaster, and I've had it for a little while because he didn't really give it to me, but I kind of took it because he never wore it, and he liked that I wore it. So, there wasn't like a formal, inheritance process there. But I know he liked that I wore it. In fact, I wore it to a couple of really cool events as well that I know that made the story even more special. But how do I wear it? So this is a pretty plain watch, right? If you know me and you know my watch collection, this is a pretty standard kind of no frills piece. I am an exotic guy. I love exotic straps completely, right? That's why the Theo and Harris strap shop is filled with so many exotic straps. It's actually fairly abnormal. Most watch shops and strap shops don't use and share exotic that much because it's a little bit uncommon. People don't really like them or wear them or buy them very much. But the whole Theo and Harris universe is something that I've kind of curated for people that share my perspective. It's not necessarily for everybody, right? So anyway, I love this stuff, right? And I actually love small scale exotic as well. Big scale exotic, of course, is very classic, but on a watch this plain, I love that this is small scale, but all these straps are amazing. This is a genuine alligator, it's made in Italy, and it's just this beautiful gray color. And I wear this, often. It's a color kind of conversation now because I also have the same strap in blue. We call this our Neptune, I believe. Again, glossy alligator. I chose small scale here that I absolutely love. So I just swap these out based on what I'm wearing color-wise. I think the watch on either of these straps represents an equal level of formality, but I wear it very casually, truthfully, and I wear this watch even more often with a suit than I would the Datejust because it's even more under the radar, it's even more casual, period. I don't, when I'm wearing a suit, that generally means I'm doing business, and I don't like standing out when I'm doing business. I really like to try to just be very professional and very clean, but seem like someone that, is just, I'm here to give really good ideas. I'm not here, it's not a fashion show, right? That's kind of how I look at, business wardrobe. When I'm in my own home and I'm in my own town, I'm having dinner, I can wear whatever I want. I'm not particularly worried about what I'm communicating to strangers, right? As so long as it's, just good old wholesome. If I'm wearing a bright blue jacket, that's fine. It's me. It's me. But when it comes to business, I really like to keep everything very low key, very conservative. Very low key and conservative and confident and smart, clean, and quality, but conservative, right? And that's generally how I wear this watch. I would have no problem wearing this watch today. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to New York City, so it's a safe watch to wear in New York City as opposed to some of my other pieces. But I will say, today, this is a little bit simple, right, for me, because I'm wearing a really casual, simple outfit. So I'll probably opt for something a little bit crazier, a little bit weirder. I may wear my Gerald Charles, which you can see here. I think that is, takes the look, which is, again, a very casual. I look a little bit silly with this hat on, but it, brings it up a little bit. I like watches and things and items that kind of make me feel a little bit excited. Again, so long as I'm not in a business, setting. So I think that may be the watch for today. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I hope you like it. If you agree or disagree with any of my assessments here, please comment down below. The first two watches are or should be available in the Theo and Harris watch shop, along with a whole bunch of other really amazing pieces that I highly suggest you go take a look at. If you have any questions, shoot us an email at info@theoandharris.com and go subscribe to our channel over at The Zero. Hope you liked this video and the extra footage we were able to take. That's it.